most guys that join special operations, they want to test themselves.
Is that warrior mentality?
Yeah, man, you want to test yourself in the crucible of combat.
Right.
And I think anybody you talk to, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, they're going to say the same thing. Yeah, man, I want to see how I perform. Like, that's the litmus test. We deployed to Operation Uphold Democracy and Maintain Democracy in Haiti. But that wasn't like combat operations. It was like a peacekeeping thing. And then the UN came in. It was a total cluster screw.
It was called Uphold Democracy?
Yeah, it was in Haiti. It was during...
Sounds like a campaign ad.
Dude, it was a mess. But anyway, I was there for 6 months. We got there, and then the UN came in, and it went from uphold democracy to maintain democracy when the UN came in. We even had to wear those stupid-ass UN patches. They were blue and white, and dude, anyway. But it wasn't combat. Like, you weren't kicking in doors and killing bad guys, you know? So, again, kind of missed the whole thing. Never went to Desert Storm or Desert Shield. But anyway, fast forward a little bit, and I end up getting a call one day. In this, and I don't, if you want to go down this road, we can. I'll tell you as much
Always.
as I can. Okay.
Let's drive.
All right. So I get a call one day, and it's this gentleman on the phone, and he says, is this Joe? And I said, yeah. And he says, my name is Ron. And he said his last name. And he said, I work for an organization that may be interested in hiring you. I said, who? And he's like, well, I prefer not to say right now. And he said, do you know so-and-so? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, do you know so-and-so? Yeah. He asked me how I knew him. And I said, well, I went to the Q course with the one guy, and I knew the other guy from 7th group. He went to 7th group, and we were just friends, you know, really good friends, and went to some schools together, and just got to know both of the guys pretty well. The one dude ended up going over to Delta. He was an operator over there. And so it was really funny because I thought they were dead. Like, it's like they kind of like fell off the map. You know what I mean? And like, we're, you know, so anyway, he's like, look, man, he goes, I think he said he was in Kansas City or something. He's like, I need you to jump on an airplane. And I'm not joking. This is what the dude tells me on the phone. He goes, you need to jump on an airplane. I'm at the Holiday Inn Express in Kansas City. I'm in room 105. And can you be here like on Thursday? And it was like Tuesday.
What year is this?
This is pre 9/11.
Okay, so you've been back in now for a long time.
A while, but I was out because that unit I had already gotten out.
Can you explain that? I don't
follow. I didn't re-enlist in the Army, and I had a little break in service before I went, because you can't be in the unit I'm about to talk about being active duty.
But you had never, the point being, you had done all kinds of training and been on bases, but you hadn't actively deployed, and now you're getting this phone call from Ron.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it.
And so, and again, at that time, I didn't even know who it was. To be honest with you, I thought it was somebody from Blackwater, like one of these big defense contracting companies. But then I'm like, why are they being so secretive about who it is? Right. And it just didn't make any sense. And I still couldn't put two and two together. So I ended up, and he says, save your plane ticket, save all your expenses. I'll give you cash when you get here. And I'm like, okay. So I go meet this dude, and he opens the door and he brings me in his room, and he's like, hey, do you mind if I record this conversation? I'm like, yeah, sure. So he puts up a computer in front of me, and he goes, so look, he goes, sorry for all of the, cloak and dagger shit. But he said, I am the recruiter for the CIA Special Activities Division, Special Operations Group, Ground Branch.
Can you explain to people what Ground Branch is before you tell this so that they can appreciate this? Yeah.
So this is open source. I mean, you can pull this up on Google. The CIA has an organization inside of it that is their Special Activities Division, Special Operations Group. I think they call it I think they changed the name. Instead of the Special Activities Division, they call it the Special Activities Center now. But back when I was in, they called it the SAD. It's basically their paramilitary unit that conducts covert operations. So for those listening, there's a thing called Title 50, which is covert action. It's basically a code, and it was given to the Central Intelligence Agency to conduct covert actions on the behalf of the government. So covert action is basically missions that the United States government doesn't want any hand in. Like if something goes wrong, they're like plausible deniability, we don't know, right? So the military does not have the legal ability to do covert action. That is assigned to the Central Intelligence Agency only.
So that they can have no diplomatic immunity and things like that if they were to get caught.
Yeah.
And it could be totally deniable to the entire government.
Joe who? Delete.
Right.
Right? So, so, and I'd heard of them, of course, in a bit, it was kind of like the unicorn. Like, do they exist? They really know, who are they? What do they do? Like nobody really knew. And you're not going to see movies about it, and you're not going to read missions about it. Like you see, guys doing missions now, it's all over the news. You're not going to hear ever anything those guys do. And so I do this interview with him, and, dude, you could have knocked me over with a feather. Like I was not expecting that at all. And
you're in a hotel room.
Yep. In a hotel room in Kansas City.
Now, did part of your brain go towards what if this is some sort of setup?
It didn't. That never really.
Why?
Because the dude knew two guys by name that I knew. Like, how would you know those guys?
If I were a Russian spy and had information, I would.
Yeah, but I wasn't that important. Like, who was I at that time? Like, I wasn't, like, why would you be targeting me? Like, I wasn't privy to really classified information like I was when I got in the unit. So anyway, we do this interview, and to be honest with you, man, it was a very mundane interview. It's not like what you think it would be. He just asked me questions about growing up, my military, just very basic questions. It's kind of like getting to know somebody kind of questions. Nothing crazy like you would think. That came later.
Did he tell you at all about himself?
Yeah. Yeah, he told me it was actually old school Delta guy. Yeah, and an older cat, but super in shape. Like you can, that's the first thing I was like, dang man, this guy's freaking yoked. Like he's yeah, but I could tell he was an older guy, but he was in really good shape. And so just did this interview, and that was it, man. He's like, hey man, thanks for coming. We'll be in touch. Like that was the extent of it. And so,
give you a business card?
Yeah, right. Picture. Hey, holding up the sign. Right?
Let's get a selfie for Instagram, please.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.